They were not to be parted. This instruction was entered plainly, set down without qualification, and observed without question. It concerned two sisters alike in form and circumstance, whose lives were thereafter governed as a single matter. No cause accompanied the entry. No justification was recorded beside it. The order did not invite reflection. It required obedience. From that moment onward, separation was not considered, nor was it permitted. The sisters were young, and so closely alike that distinction was seldom attempted. In feature and bearing they appeared the same, sharing countenance, posture, and manner, as though formed by a single hand. Those who encountered them spoke of them together, not from haste but from habit. In the record their names were not entered apart. Their presence was noted as one occurrence, their condition addressed as a single concern. What was observed in one was presumed to be present in the other. What was remarked upon once required no second account. Thus, before any cause was set down, before any circumstance was described, the sisters had already been joined by custom and by entry, their lives arranged beneath a common heading. At that time, the practice of physic was shaped by order, precedent, and restraint. Physicians were trained within established forms, and their judgments carried weight by virtue of position and record. What was set down in ink was received as settled, not because it invited agreement, but because it had been entered. Notes were kept with diligence. Dates were marked with care. Appearances were described in measured terms, free of excess and untroubled by speculation. Within such rooms, inquiry moved within accepted bounds. Questions were not absent, yet they were expected to arise in deference to custom. To press beyond those limits was to disturb order. Those placed under care were expected to submit quietly. Their conduct was to be composed, their speech restrained, their part limited to endurance. Observation belonged to the physician, description belonged to the record. Between the two, little space remained for objection. Once a determination had been entered, it passed swiftly from consideration into practice. What was decided was carried forward, not through repetition of choice, but through the absence of doubt. It was within this world that the sisters were placed. It was then determined that the sisters were not to be divided. The instruction was set forth without elaboration. It bore neither condition nor exception. They were to remain together in lodging. They were to be examined together in attendance. Whatever alteration was observed was to be noted as it appeared in both, and whatever measures were applied were to be administered without distinction. No interval of separation was proposed. No trial of distance was permitted. The order did not speak of affection or comfort. It made no appeal to sentiment or preference. It was framed as arrangement, entered as procedure, and preserved as practice. From that point onward, their daily course followed a single direction. Hours of rest were assigned together. Periods of observation were conducted together. The record reflected this unity without remark, as though no alternative had been contemplated. Thus the sisters were governed not as two separate concerns, but as one matter held under a single rule. In due course, the nature of the sisters' condition was set down. It was consumption. The disorder was familiar to physicians of the time, and widely feared for its persistence and uncertainty. It advanced without haste, diminishing strength by degrees and settling where resistance was least. Its signs were observed with care. Alterations of the breath were noted. Changes in vigor were recorded. Periods of fatigue and rest were entered as they appeared. The name of the illness brought no alteration to the existing arrangement. The earlier instruction remained in force, unamended and unquestioned. The sisters continued to be regarded together. The course of the disorder was followed as a single progression. What was observed in one was set down as bearing upon the other. Thus, even as the affliction was acknowledged, the manner of their governance did not change. The disease was named, yet the rule endured without explanation. The months passed, and then the years followed after them. The record continued in steady form. Dates succeeded one another. Entries accumulated without interruption. The sisters remained in the same arrangement, observed within the same chambers, and attended according to the same order. When alteration was perceived in one, the other was examined with equal care. Improvement, when it appeared, was noted with reserve. Decline, when observed, was entered without emphasis. No attempt was made to alter their course. No interval of separation was proposed. The instruction governing their conduct remained unchanged. Remedies were administered together, and periods of rest were prescribed in common. Whatever was undertaken was done with reference to both, as though a single condition were under review. Those charged with their care did not remain the same. Physicians departed and others took their place. Attendants changed, yet the record preserved continuity, carrying forward each entry in the same manner as before. What had been established at the outset came to be regarded as settled practice. The arrangement no longer required defense, nor did it invite reconsideration. Habit assumed the appearance of necessity. What had once been decided was thereafter followed without reflection. Thus the sisters lived under observation, their days proceeding in quiet succession, while the record advanced alongside them, unchanged in its. Much was set down with care. The state of the breath was recorded at length. Strength and weakness were observed in turn. Periods of rest and wakefulness were noted with regularity. Yet amid this orderly accumulation, certain matters were left untouched. No entry set forth the origin of the governing instruction. No page explained why separation was never attempted. No later hand returned to question what had first been written. The record spoke fully of condition, yet withheld all account of judgment. What was absent was not marked as omission. It appeared neither as error nor as oversight. It was simply not present. In this absence, the instruction acquired greater firmness. What had once required decision no longer appeared to require thought. Silence took the place of explanation. Repetition stood where inquiry might have been expected. Thus the arrangement endured, not upheld by argument, but sustained by what the record did not say. And so the sisters continued as they had long been entered, together in observation, together in description, and together in the quiet spaces left between the words. Only in later passages does a measure of reasoning appear. It was held that division might bring about harm, not through sentiment, but through apprehension of consequence. The condition was believed to be unsettled by disturbance. Sudden change was regarded as perilous, capable of hastening decline rather than delaying it. Continuance, by contrast, was thought to preserve what strength remained. Familiar surroundings, regular attendance, and unbroken routine were favored over alteration. The sisters had long been observed together. Their habits were known. Their responses were expected. To separate them would have been to introduce uncertainty where none was desired. Thus separation came to be regarded not as remedy, but as risk. The instruction endured, not because its soundness had been proven, but because no contrary course had been attempted. Caution prevailed where confidence was lacking. Custom prevailed where doubt might have arisen. In this manner, the rule found its defense not in assurance, but in the fear of what might follow should it be set aside. The record does not linger upon the closing of events. There is no change in tone to mark a conclusion, no language set apart from what had come before. The entries grow fewer. The intervals between them lengthen. Strength is noted as diminished. The breath is described as labored. Periods of rest are recorded with increasing regularity. At length the observations cease. The sisters pass from the page in the same manner they had occupied it, together, without distinction or separation. No separate account is preserved. No final moment is described. The book is closed upon a single history, though two lives had filled its pages. Their course ends without ceremony, marked not by declaration, but by the quiet absence of further record. With time, the customs of physic did not remain unchanged. New observations were admitted. Earlier practices were set aside. What had once been held without question was no longer preserved in the same form. Yet the account of the sisters remained as it had been entered. No later hand returned to amend it. No margin bears correction or reflection. What was done was left standing, not because it was confirmed beyond doubt, but because it belonged to its hour. The instruction that governed their lives passed quietly from use, though its reason was never fully recorded. And so the sisters are known to us, not by separate histories, but by a single determination set down long